Hi, welcome everybody. It's Sarah here. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is the Boss Body Podcast, and we're tackling a little bit of a different subject today. So I'm really excited because I think this is something a lot of you are going to be interested in hearing about. I have a special guest with me. Her name is Janet Sandberg, and she is an intuitive life coach. And one of her areas of specialty is working with people on relationships. And as you know, this podcast is about weight loss and getting healthy and getting fit and all of that. But if you want to be truly healthy, all the areas of your life have to be healthy, your career, your relationships. And so I thought it would be so cool to have Janet on to talk about finding your soulmate or deepening the relationship that you have with a significant other now. So, Janet, hello. Thank you so much for being on today.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Great. Well, if you would just kind of tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and how you came to be an intuitive life coach and what you do in that capacity.
Okay, so the intuitive part means that I've been working with intuition, metaphysics, energy healing, all of that kind of stuff for over 30 years.
Oh, wow.
And I use all of that kind of stuff when I'm working with my clients,
Hmm.
my coaching clients, helping them just thrive and be successful and have abundance and make their lives as amazing as they dream them.
Absolutely. That's what we all want, right?
Yes.
And so I know one of your areas of expertise is relationships. And you're a lot like I am in that you draw from your own personal experiences and what you learned from that to let it kind of ripple out and help your clients. So I know you've had some relationship ups and downs. So will you just give us a little background about yourself and, your life?
Sure. So I was married, got married in my mid 20s. I had been living abroad when I met my ex husband. So I wasn't really myself because I wasn't when you live in a different place, you just feel different. Anyways,
Plus you're
we
in your
got ma-
20s, which you're
yeah,
not,
y-
you're not there yet. You're still
right.
learning who you are.
And then it was great at first, and then over time things got very out of hand. The relationship ended up being abusive in all the ways except for physical.
Wow.
Very emotionally abusive, financially abusive, like kind of you name it.
Mhm.
It was horrible.
And
And so event
unfortunately, a lot of women find themselves in these similar situations.
yes. The trick with my situation was we were still living abroad, and my visa was dependent upon being married to him.
Mm,
So if I were to leave, I would also have to leave the country.
yeah.
So I, stayed in the marriage longer than I should have or would have, but
Mhm.
you can't change that.
Yeah.
Uh,
And your reason is unique, but I do hear from a lot of women that they feel a little bit trapped in that space, whether
oh,
it's for
absolutely.
financial reasons or family
Hmm.
issues. Your situation was that you were abroad and you needed that visa, but sometimes you just can't get away as
Oh,
quickly
it's
as you need
totally not
want to.
easy. Yeah. So eventually I left. Eventually we started the divorce process, which, as you can imagine, was terrible in and of itself. Um, the divorce is still open in certain aspects. Some of it still hasn't been finalized after, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Um, even though I'm remarried, I was divorced enough to to get on with my life, but there's still like the financial aspect of things still
Right.
hasn't been settled.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
It's
so yeah, I
complicated.
spent a long time healing and learning and coming to understand and stop blaming myself for
Mm-hmm.
being in that relationship
Mm-hmm.
and, not leaving earlier and all of those things that you go through afterwards.
Right. I'm divorced as
And
well. And one of the things that I learned through it all is that when you do your own work and you become healthier, you realize how unhealthy some of your relationships are. And
absolutely, yes.
you almost cannot stand to be in it because there's a fear of leaving, of being alone, of being, financially independent, whatever it is, you have these fears. And when you do your own inner work and you know who you are and you know who you need and you know who you deserve, the fear is nothing compared to the want and the need to realize your true potential. So
Right.
the fear isn't as powerful anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to
Yes.
say.
And you get to that point where you're like, the the fear of whatever is to come can't be worse than what I'm living right now.
Yes. Yeah,
You
exactly.
hit rock bottom,
Yep.
basically. I
Yep.
kind of hate that saying, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, yeah, and then you're able to grow and heal and be like, this is me. This is what I want. This is what I deserve. And you're able to find that. And I was able to find my soulmate, and now we got married twice, 2 years in a row
Because of COVID.
because of COVID, but it was
Yeah.
so much fun. We might just keep getting married every year. So,
Yeah, really have a big party.
yeah.
Good. Yeah.
So,
So tell me, how do you help clients with this? People who either, a lot of people, especially, women of a certain age, are divorced and looking for a healthier, better relationship, or maybe they've never been married and they're looking for a partner, or they are with a partner and things are fairly good but could be better.
right. So
You how do you
I I say there are three people that or three ways to have a soulmate relationship. You need to have a soulmate relationship with yourself. You can attract a soulmate if you're single and you want one,
Mhm.
or you can have that soulmate relationship with the partner you already have. And all three are achieved by connecting to your own soul
Mhm.
and knowing who you are and um, what you deserve,
Mhm.
and um, just being true to yourself. And once you know how to do that, everything else falls into place.
Yeah. Once you become your authentic self, you attract a partner who's meant to be with who you really are.
Exactly.
That's awesome. And so like for people listening and they're like, okay, that sounds good, connect with my authentic self, start loving myself. Like, what does that look like? Like, how do you start doing that?
Well, I have a an acronym for it, which is TACO, because everybody loves tacos.
Hmm.
So it's easy to remember. So trust, attract, connect, and then oh yeah, which
Oh,
is super
yeah.
cheesy, but
I love it.
that's how it works. So trust, you have to trust yourself, you have to trust the journey you're on, trust the universe, God,
Hmm.
source, spirit, whatever you want to call
Hmm.
it. Um, and then attract what you want into your life by being yourself, living your soul-led life, being specific about what you want,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. So
and
that's manifesting.
believing that it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I like
then
that piece because you can manifest whatever you want in your life, but you have to visualize it. You have to ask for it. You have to
mhm,
decide and figure out what that is before
yes.
it's going to come to you.
Yeah. Like with my ex-husband in my 20s, not really knowing too much about life, I was like, yeah, I want him to be like, tall, dark, and handsome and
Yeah.
have a good job and,
Yeah.
all of those things, which he was.
Right.
Did I
On
specify
paper.
what kind of personality he should
Yeah.
have? No, no, I
Yeah.
didn't. I
On
kind of
paper, check, check,
took that for
check.
granted that,
That all that would just be there.
yeah, but no, you have to specify all the things.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
um,
So then what's the C again?
C is connect. So that's connecting to yourself, it's connecting to others, it's being vulnerable,
Mm,
it's being learning to be outside the box. Like it's about your connections and how you connect to people. It's not how other people do it.
mm-hmm.
It's different for everybody and for every couple. Um, and then being in flow with yourself, with each other, with the universe. It's connecting on all the levels.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yourself, others, the universe.
Yeah. And
Um,
sometimes that can be scary. You said be vulnerable.
I know
That's
everyone
really
hates the V word.
scary. Like you got to put yourself out there. But if you if you don't put yourself out there, nobody knows who you really are. And the person that's meant to be with who you really are can't find you when
Exactly.
you
And
have
especially
that outer
for,
shell, that wall, you
yeah,
know?
for those of us coming out of toxic relationships, huge walls because we've had to shut down to protect ourselves,
Right.
especially in an emotionally abusive situation. So learning how to open back up
Mm-hmm.
and be vulnerable is really scary and really hard to do, even if you consciously want to.
Yeah.
You
Because you're
know,
afraid it's going to happen.
being able to is a whole different
Yeah.
story. So
Yeah, you're
that's a really
afraid of
tricky
putting
piece.
your heart out on the line again in case somebody stomps it again. But,
Mhm.
I like what you said before about, you kind of have to trust, you have to have faith that God, the universe, the higher power is on your side and wants you to succeed and created you the way that you are for a reason because you're the only one
Yes,
that's you. That's cliche
exactly.
too. We're all snowflakes, right? Individuals.
Yep.
But yeah, getting through that fear of putting yourself out there again and allowing people to see your authentic self instead of your Instagram self is scary.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the last part, the O,
Yeah.
is the oh, yeah, it's the celebration. It's
Yeah.
celebrating who you are. It's celebrating, your body. It's celebrating your life, who you
Hmm.
are inside and outside, celebrating what you have. It may not be perfect, but it's yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's a
it's
real
just the learning
transformation
to,
that you have to go through to get to that. Oh,
yes.
it
And
takes some
celebrating the
work.
fact that you may have walked away from a terrible situation. You may have overcome
Yeah.
so many things to get where you are, and it's not where you want to be,
Hmm.
but it's a lot better than where you were.
Yeah.
Um, and if you already have a partner, it's celebrating all of that time you've had together with all of those ups and downs. And the fact that you're still together and you still both want to work and deepen your relationship with each other.
Hmm.
Like that is incredible.
Yeah. So, any way you look at it, doing your own inner work is just going to make your life that much richer and that much deeper and your relationships with a significant other. And really, what you're talking about doesn't just apply to romantic partners. It can
No.
be anyone in your life. It could be family, it can be friends, it can be children, parents.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, soulmate relationships are not necessarily romantic relationships. That's how a lot of people think of them, but they don't have to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it could be anyone you want to.
Hmm.
Um, yeah.
And so, if people want to get started with your with your taco plan, what would you give them as just a first step? Is it like some kind of homework? Is there some kind of reading or journaling or introspective um, exercise they could do?
Um, well, the first step is learning to trust your intuition,
Hmm.
which is hard, but it's testing out those little nudges where you're like, was that just a thought or was that like my soul telling me what to do, which is what your intuition is.
So, how do you know the
Well,
difference?
you try it out. And especially if
Oh,
it's little things
hmm.
like, oh, I should eat this today. And then, maybe it's eating a peach and the peach is like perfectly ripe. And you're like, wow, that was the best peach I ever had. I
Hmm.
could have not eaten that and I would have missed out on that opportunity. Or it can be as small as that. Um, or just trusting the little nudges you get. We all get them
Hmm.
all day long
Oh, yeah.
about everything.
Yeah.
And so it's just trying it
Yeah.
and seeing if that improved your life in any way.
Yeah.
And
And that
that's
can be
how you know.
really hard if you came from some type of like gaslighting type relationship, or, it could be even in parents, it could be a relationship that you had where you had an intuition that, something's not right. But then you ask the person and they're like, no, everything is good. So then you're like,
Mhm.
oh, well, I guess I wasn't right. Or when you're
Yes.
growing up in your household, if, things aren't good, whether it's finances or your parents' relationship or, whatever it is, and your parents aren't really sharing that with you, but you as a child feel that energy, that tension, the stress. And that's you're intuitively feeling that, but then everybody's acting normal, everybody's acting like everything's fine. And, I know that happened in my marriage, and especially anyone who's been divorced or even, just had a bad relationship. There's a lot of, I feel like something's off. I feel like something's not right. But then you ask the person and they're like, no, it's fine. So you kind of like start not trusting your
Mhm.
own intuition. And then in my case too, I thought, well, I've made all these bad decisions in my life. I've had like bad relationship one after another, not just my marriage, but, starting back when I first started dating. So I'm like, well, I just make bad choices. So my intuition sucks. Like, I don't want to listen to my intuition. So it's hard to start,
Well, and that's why you start
trusting
with the
that.
little things,
Yeah.
and learning to trust your decision making on a less life-changing basis
Right.
than like the next person you're dating or,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
And I would think too, maybe just looking at other things in your life where you have made really good decisions. Maybe
Yes.
that's a career, maybe that's, having kids or, whatever other, major decisions that you've made that turned out great. Just because your relationship wasn't good doesn't mean that you're not good at listening, that your intuition is wrong.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that gives everybody kind of a good place to start and a lot of hope because you're with your soulmate now. Like you came through this really difficult fire and all the way through to the light on the other side. And I can tell just when you talk about your relationship now that you're sort of glowing and, it's a whole different
Yes.
situation.
And for the record, I just turned 50. So,
Me too. This
it's
year.
never too late. Just because you're not in your 20s or your 30s doesn't mean it's never going to happen.
Exactly.
My great uncle got married at 89. So, you
Wow.
know, never give up.
No, absolutely not. And try again if you
Yeah.
want it. If you
That's
want
what you
it.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, don't be scared away by what has happened in the past because that doesn't mean it's going to keep happening again. And just keep doing your inner work. Like,
Yeah. Things stay the same if you stay the same.
absolutely. Yeah. If you stay the same, you'll keep drawing to you the same types of partners.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that's really helpful and really insightful. Well, Janet, thank you. This has been great. I've enjoyed it so much. So,
Me
if
too.
people want to learn more about you or get in touch with you, how can they look you up?
I am on Instagram and Facebook at Janet Sandberg, Sandberg,
Mhm.
uh, intuitive, dot intuitive. I'm also on TikTok now, which is kind
Ooh,
of fun.
fun.
Um, and my website is janetsandberg.com. And you
Okay.
can message me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you happen to find me.
Perfect. Great. And I'm also going to put your information in the show notes. So all the links will be there as well. Because I know you do a
Perfect.
lot more. We focused on the relationship aspect today, but you help people with all different aspects of improving their lives and up leveling. And that's what I'm in the business of. That's what you're in the business of. And that's what we want. We want women to grab a hold of their dream life and get everything they deserve.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you again next time.